Welcome in to the Get Your Happy On Hour, featuring former Husker receiver Ricky Simmons.
Welcome to the Get Your Happy On Hour show. I'm your host, Ricky C. Simmons. This is 93.7 The Ticket. Got to give a big shout out to Matt Warner, Empire Fencing, man. I appreciate all the love and support that y'all continue to give the show. Just keep doing big things, man. I mean, that's very important that you keep that mindset that you guys got out there. I really like what y'all are doing. You know, I'm really excited about tonight's show because I got one of my little brothers with me tonight. And this guy is already well known. But you know what? We're gonna get into a different side of him tonight because everybody knows he knows sports. We got that. But I'm gonna go deep tonight. So welcome to the show, little brother Jay Foreman.
Hey man, I appreciate it, man. It's a long time coming, and you know, when you asked me to come on, you know I was gonna get down like Charlie Brown, like we always say.
Well, no, I really appreciate it, man, because you know, I've been wanting to ask you, but I know you're doing so much already for the station, and I was like, well, you know, I don't want to bother him, but then I got to thinking, I was like, man, he would be such a good guest. And plus, I know how intelligent you are as far as athletically and stuff, but I know another side of you. And I wanted to address that. So we're going to start off, we're going to go back first before we get to that. You know, let me tell y'all the backstory. And I think started in the 9th grade. From the 9th grade through my senior year of high school, I wore the jersey number 44. And this is a great example of how small this world is. I grew up 30 minutes from Dallas. I'm a Cowboy fan. Don't hold that against me. We're not doing very well. But I always admired this dude from the Vikings named Chuck Foreman. So he had this one move where he would come up to you and he would chop his feet, and then right when you think you're going to hit him, he just spin. And I just thought that was the coolest thing in the world. So I started wearing number 44 because of Chuck Foreman. And small world, man. I got Chuck Foreman's son as a guest on my show. So first question I got for you, man, what was it like growing up with my idol?
Man, you know, it was, you know, Ricky, to be honest with you, when we moved from Frederick, Maryland, D.C. area to Minnesota, I didn't really know who he was. Wow. I really didn't, man. I mean, he was just dad to me. Right, you know what I'm saying? So I never, you know, he always made sure you know, he protected me and stuff, wanted to kind of keep me, you know, he's protective of his family. So, you know, he didn't want any undue pressure, not, you know, and so I didn't really realize who he was until he came pick me up from school one day. And then everybody was like, you know, hey, that's Chuck Foreman. Then one dude came up to me and he's like, do you know who your dad is? And I was like, nah. You know, I was like, no. And he was like, man, you know, your dad was good at football. So I got in the car, man, and it was funny. We were, you know, driving home. And I was like, hey, Dad, man, you know, so-and-so said that, man, you were really good at football. Is that true? He started laughing. He's like, yeah, I was all right, you know. And so then, you're right. So from there, then I was like, all right, then. But you know, it was crazy. Like, I saw the trophies in the house. You know, he'd have the trophies and stuff. But, you know, I just thought I didn't think anything of it because my dad, when we were, you know, when I was growing up, he was just my dad. So, you know, that's what I always looked at him until like I realized, and then it was good, man. I think it made me I had to grow up a lot faster because, you know, I wasn't able to, you know, he's first of all, at that time, moving from essentially DC, which is chocolate city,
right,
predominantly African American, right. Even in Frederick, Maryland, not predominantly, but high percentage of African Americans there, to Minnesota, which is completely different.
Yeah.
And you know, our background, like all my uncles that didn't go to college to play football, all my other, and my grandfather served. So, you know, we were a very, you know, open-minded family. So we had, you know, when we'd have, you know, family reunions or family cookouts, everybody would come.
Right.
So when you go to Minnesota, though, it's a little bit different. So he said, look, man, number one, this is a different environment for you. So you can't do some of the things. Everybody's going to be watching you,
Okay,
right?
yeah,
Because there was very few of us at that time and Eden Prairie. And then also he said, listen, you are, whether you like it or not, we in this together, but you're Chuck Foreman's son. So you can't do some of the things that regular kids can do.
Yeah.
And
understandable.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be judged by a different, grading system. And so that makes you grow up faster, and it was something I didn't really know at the time he was telling me, but I kind of always had it in the back of my mind. And maybe that's all all I needed to know was like, hey, and I was a homebody anyways,
Right.
and have, very few friends. That's just my personality. So, but if there's times that, my dad was like, look, and son, hey, when the lights come on at night, you home.
Yeah.
Versus trying to
right.
be out, running around. So it was definitely, it was a unique upbringing, but it was more positive than negative.
When did you realize? I mean, how old were you when you realized who your dad really was?
Man, I mean, I was about 6th, 7th grade then.
Wow. Okay.
Okay,
yeah.
So back in Frederick, like he was just Chucky. And so we just were real low profile. Back in Frederick, my grandfather, I used to call him Poppy, but in Francis Houston, we call him Big Houston. He was the man. So, he played in the Negro Leagues, but then also up until recently, he was the leading rebounder at Bowie State. He was a bad dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's grandfather.
Yeah, my grandfather. So they said like when he put his leather coat on, walking down St. Street, going to the Elks Club, he about to clean the place out. Call him, he say when Big Red coming, you know what I'm saying? They know what time it is. And then my uncle played college. He played at University of Cincinnati.
Okay.
He actually wanted to come to Nebraska. But at that point in time, they didn't recruit African-American offensive linemen, so he went to Cincinnati. My uncle also was the first to kind of bring lifting weights to Frederick High School. And then that's where my dad came, my Uncle Grease, and my Uncle Blood. And then everybody from Frederick ended up going down to Miami in 1968 and afterwards.
So the Hurricanes?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, we're a Cane family.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, at least,
I would have never made that connection. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I got to ask, man, if you're a Cane family, and what made you choose Nebraska?
Hey, I was. You really want to understand, man? I hate saying it because this is actually probably the best choice I ever made to come to Nebraska.
Okay.
I was a Cane family, or we are a Cane family and Husker family, but everybody. Look, in 1968, my dad, along with like Reuben Carter, Burgess Owens, Tony Raiola, Van McElroy was down there at that time. Otis Anderson came and looked. They were the first 1968. That was where they were allowed to, go to Southern school. Black African American kids were allowed to go. So for my dad, Penn State didn't think he was good enough. So my dad wanted to go, away from home. And so everybody I knew, growing up when we watched football, that's where they went and played. You know what I'm saying? And
the
so
Hurricanes.
the Hurricanes. So I know all those guys. I grew up with all those guys, as being a little kid going there. And so that's where I wanted to go. They called up and offered me, and then they probably thought maybe it was a shoe-in. Miami went on like probation because they were giving their players too much in their Pell Grants.
Gotcha.
And so, but then I was like, okay, I wanted to be close to home. I have a real tight relationship with my dad, and then it really came down to 3 schools or 4. Four was Wisconsin. That kind of ended because they didn't offer me a scholarship on my trip. My dad didn't get involved much in the recruiting process, except for he said he's not taking an official visit. Remember, you only had 5 back then, unless you're giving him a scholarship. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
That's a whole different story. It came down to Nebraska and Iowa, to be honest with you. And I was dead set to go to Iowa. It was me, Tim Dwight, and this kid named Eric Thigpen.
I know those names.
Right. So me and Tim Dwight were on the same recruit trip, and Tavian Banks was my host. I was ready to go, and Nebraska came in a little bit late because they were recruiting Lane Kiffin. So me and Lane grew up together because Monty was the whole roundabout. Monty Kiffin was the defensive coordinator.
Correct.
Me and defense coordinator with the Vikings. Me and Lane were ball boys now for the Vikings. So Larry Fitzgerald Jr. gets all the accolades because he's a Hall of Fame football player.
Yeah,
so everybody
right.
thinks about famous Viking ball boys. It's him. We was the OGs. We don't get no credit. You know what I'm saying? So me and Lane grew up together, and we were ball boys 2 years together. And they were recruiting him, another kid named Dave Watson, and another kid named Lloyd Lee. So that we were playing them on their homecoming. And I remember going to the locker room, and I remember talking to Coach Grant. I was like, "Hey, man, because I was playing good my senior year, and I didn't do any of the camps or anything because I was playing basketball. And so I was like, "Hey, man, are they here to recruit me?" Because it was Nebraska at the time, Coach Osborne and Coach Young. Remember Dan Young?
Yeah, right.
And then it was Michigan State, who had Nick Saban and Todd Grantham.
Yeah, yeah.
And then all the other Big Ten schools were there. So I saw the Nebraska, Parker or whatever, Apex.
Yeah.
I was like, "Hey, man, they here to recruit me." And he was like, "Nah." I was like, "For real?" He's like, "Nah." He's like, they're here to see them other dudes. And I just told myself, I said, "Listen, I can tell you that, first of all, we didn't like the rival school that Lane and them went to. That was our rival." I said, and this is the first game my coach was going to let me play both ways. I said, "I'm about to turn this thing out." And, and it proceeded. I had 160 yards rushing, a couple touchdowns. But what I did was, Ricky, the Dave Watson, the tight end that everybody wanted.
Yeah.
I knocked him out the game. I mean, I'm talking about out the game. And then I got Lloyd Lee as well.
So you was on a mission.
On a mission. You know what I'm saying? And the next thing you know, Dan Young was calling me every Monday at 6 p.m. When I say every Monday at 6 p.m., every Monday at 6 p.m.
Wow.
He called. And then it came down to Nebraska, Iowa. I liked both. And I felt at home here. I did, man. I felt like, they had good academic support. It's it's an easy trip. And Coach Osborne came up right before they left to go play Florida State. And Iowa, who had the coach Hayden Fry at the time, they were 4-8, not going to a bowl game. And by that time, my recruiting was picking way up.
Yeah.
I was turning away like Arizona and USC because they came in late. And I was like, man, if you're closer distance at Iowa than Coach Osborne, and you've been off for like almost a month, this dude about to play and try to win his first national championship, he takes the time to come see me the night before the team takes off.
Yes.
Then I came on my visit, and the rest is history.
Okay, now let me say this. First of all, excuse me, the Hurricanes.
Yeah.
They were never in the.
They were, and what happened was, Ricky, to be honest with you, Miami used to come up to Minnesota and pluck quarterbacks. So they got the Walsh brothers and Chris Weinke, and they also were recruiting some other guys from Cretin-Durham Hall. So Cretin-Durham Hall used to recruit and pay kids. They won't admit it. That's where they would get them, right?
Yeah.
And then it really came to, and I would have probably still went to Miami, even though they were on a little bit of probation, because I had family down there. But I felt like for my dad's financial situation, he might have only been able to see me play one time a year.
Gotcha.
And it was far away from home. And I felt like if it came down to, because I looked at the roster where guys were from.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I felt like here I am, even though I'm, I guess, a legacy recruit, if it came down to Jay Foreman from Minnesota and so from, Lakeland High School, he's going to get the benefit of the doubt because I felt like he's got to, you got to grease the pockets with the high school coaches. And that's the reason why I didn't.
Well, man, first of all, I'm going to say this. I'm glad.
Part of the reason. Yeah, Coach Osborne was a big deal too.
Well, I'm glad you came here because once you got here, you handled your business.
Right.
And it's well documented how much success you had on the field. I would just like, my audience is a little different from the audience you talk to every day on the air.
Yeah.
I'd like for you, because you could do it better than I could, but can you tell us the accomplishments as a Nebraska football player that you were able to?
Yeah, I was, I came in and started as a redshirt freshman. So I started, all 4 years here. And then, when I left, I think I was top 8 in tackles or something like that. We didn't play much because we were beating teams. We were doing a lot more watching than anything.
Right.
I was semifinals for the final 3 for the Buckets. And then I was, all Big 12, a couple of years. And then obviously won 3 national championships.
See,
you know, and I was a captain. And, you know, really the best accomplishment, I would say I was a captain.
Yeah, well, you know what? See, a lot of people don't understand the Buckets Award is the best, one of the best
linebackers. Yeah. And we had a good crew. It was me, Dat Win, and Andy Casimar. And Andy Casimar in college was a bad dude. He played at Ohio State. He was a bad dude, and he won it. So I still think I should have won it, but we yeah. You know, but you know, we needed a couple more wins and stuff like that, and you know, it felt like if we would got a couple more wins, I would have had a chance.
But 3 national championships, that speaks for itself as well, man. So I just want everybody to know exactly who's talking to us tonight, because a lot of times, you know, we hear things, but we don't know things, you know. And then, like, for those of you that watch the ticket weekdays, I'm sure they know who you are.
Right.
But a lot of my audience, they don't watch.
Right.
They're not sports fans, so to say. So I just wanted people to know that part about your life. Also, I'd like to know, if you don't mind, I'd like for you to share with everybody, after Nebraska, what was next for Jay Foreman?
You know, I was, you know, first of all, before I got to college, you know, when you come in from Council Bluffs and there's that sign, I think it says "Welcome to the Good Life to Nebraska" or whatever.
Yes,
I'll never forget this. And this is tell you about what was happening in college and afterwards. So me and my dad, you know, we driving down. He's driving me to you know, hand me off. So we're just talking the whole time, just kind of, you know, BSing and stuff. And then we got there, and literally, when we got there, he turned the music, because we listen to sports radio. He turned it off. He said, "Listen here." He said, "Listen here." He said, "Hey, 2 things. Don't make me come back down here besides it's a game." He said, "Because you don't think Coach Osborne ain't got nothing on me." That's number 1. And he said, "Number 2, come and get a good education. Get something out of it. You know, do something. You know, work at it. Because like, cause football don't last forever." Right, you know, as great as my dad was, I think, you know, hopefully he'll get in the Hall of Fame. He always stressed that, you know what I'm saying, to me. I mean, education first, because they never can take it away from you. So when I got here, obviously I was a business administration major, graduated in, you know, 3.5 years and stuff like that. And then, you know, I was lucky enough to get drafted in the NFL. I went and played, you know, 9 seasons in there, got 8 credited seasons, and, you know, in the NFL. Goes by quick.
Yeah.
I always tell people, listen, man, it's a thin line. I'm telling you, a razor thin line from being at home on the couch or being out there starting.
Yeah. Yes.
So for the 9 seasons, I always tell people I had 7 good ones and 2 crappy ones and bounced around. And then, you know, after that, you know, when I was, you know, when my body broke down and it kind of felt like it was time, then you got to move into the, you know, the second part of your life. And that's probably the hardest challenge that I think for any athlete.
Now, you said you had 7 good seasons. Who was those teams?
Oh, so I had, yeah. So I had 4 in Buffalo, right? Which where I got drafted, which I say is Lincoln at that time, Lincoln on steroids. I love Buffalo. Okay. I love the B-Low. Cold as heck, but I love the people up there. It's all football. Yeah. I mean, and plus, Ricky, for me, it was a great locker room, first class organization, and it helped me have a good locker room to learn how to be a pro. Gotcha. How to carry yourself, when to have a good time, when is too much of a good time, a bad time, all that stuff. And then I got traded from Buffalo down to Houston and to the Texans, which was an expansion team. And was part of the, you know, the first 3 years there. I love Houston. And you know, it's, you know, so I was very fortunate. Now I went from winning. So I went from the ultimate winning in college to winning at a very high level in the pros to Houston. Hey, Ricky, man, when you talk about brother was frustrated, I just wasn't used to that.
Yeah.
Because you got to think, since I've been 18 years old, coming here, you do everything you can and then some, and then some, and then some to win for the betterment of the team, and you will prosper off of that. You got down to Houston, man. The best thing that we were doing, we had nice jumpsuits and pens and papers. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we play. Hey, Ricky, we playing some hellified defense now, because I don't know if you watched the Detroit Lions. So Aaron Glenn, their defensive coordinator, he was our starter. We had some dudes on defense, man. We could barely get across the 50.
Oh wow!
You know, at that time, and so the first 3 years were tough. 2 years were tough, and then this dude walked through the gates, and I'll never forget it.
Who was that?
Andre Johnson.
Oh, wow.
I'm telling you, when that brother walked through there, I'll never forget. I was sipping me some Gatorade. You know, it was hot as Hades down there. It was rookie mini camp, so you know, we just getting into shape. We trying to see, you know, where the rookies is at. And when he walked through, I remember I tapped Jamie Sharper. I said, that dude going in the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
I mean, because he was the size of an outside linebacker, ran a 4.3, and you know what? He was quiet, he was tough, and then he was so competitive. He loved football, so it was just you knew he was going to make something.
He definitely put in a lot of work, because I remember him. And this dude was a problem.
Oh yeah,
he was a problem for just about everybody y'all played.
Yeah, he was essentially a one-man. I used to call him the one-man gang because he was the real deal, especially as a rookie. And then so I was able to do that, man. And I was as much as it was an advantage for me to have not only my dad, but have people that were obviously around in my early part of life to make an adjustment, to come to college, which is a big program. Then obviously to go to the pros. The game was significantly different, up there. The politics were different. When my dad played, there wasn't as many the depth of players. So that if you it didn't matter if you went to Texas A&I, you playing versus you get up there, it's where you get drafted, how much they got invested in you. What your college coach went to college with the pro coach. There's a lot of things that went on, and then poof, So 9 years goes by quick, but I enjoyed it. I mean, it taught me a lot, though.
Well, you said something you had just mentioned earlier about your body was breaking down on you.
Yeah.
Can you go into details on that?
Well, what really was scaring me is that in a preseason game, I hit somebody and everything shut down. I'm talking about like I lost feeling for a little while. So then you're out there. Now it came back rather quickly, because it was a tackle, and then you kind of like, you got 3 people on you or whatever. So, so I was able to kind of get up and go, but that was the first one. And then, I knew I had some issues then. But I was like, all right, I gotta get paid. Right.
Yeah,
so then I tried to. So then I kind of was playing keep away for a little while until I got my contract, and then I had some real concussion issues and just like my neck and back, and then finally, we were up there. I was playing for the 49ers at the time. This rookie came. I was about to make a tackle. Friendly fire, tore my MCL, and then I was like, yeah, that's probably about it. But in the financial structure of what the PA negotiated was not advantageous for an older player.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So they could sign Brett Favre, a superstar player, for $750, but like me, where for me to keep playing past like year 9 or 8, 9, 10, I needed to be there January 1st because I could beat you out over time. And they weren't going to bring me in that early. So, and then plus my neck was shot. And the one thing I remember is when I was thinking twice about running in their head first. Those kids making it. Kid, you know what I mean? hey, Ricky, used to I was doing it with no remorse.
Yeah. Now you're thinking.
Yeah, now I'm thinking. Yeah.
Hey, look, don't you guys go anywhere. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come right back with Jay Foreman. This is 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Get Your Happy On Hour.
Load up on meat and more this fall at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. This week's special through November 12th is $2 off all crackers, $2 off on grind, $3 off on salami, and buy one, get one free on stew beef. Limit of 2. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Highway 2 in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
You're counting on your team to win, so why not prove it? By placing your bets at Warhorse Sportsbook. Their win is your win. Put your money where your mouth is on nearly every sporting event. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person at Warhorse Casino, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Hi, it's Joel Norman, the voice of your Lincoln Stars hockey team. Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket to hear the latest on the Stars with myself, head coach Rocky Russo, and special player guests.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Wellman Plumbing at 402-434-2400 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-434-2400.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Load up on meat and more this fall at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. This week's special through November 12th is $2 off all crackers, $2 off on grind, $3 off on salami, and buy one, get one free on stew beef. Limit of 2. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Highway 2 in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Back to the Get Your Happy On Hour, featuring former Husker receiver Ricky Simmons.
Hey, we back to Get Your Happy On Hour. This is 93.7 The Ticket. You know, I'm sitting there talking to my little brother, man, and I'm getting educated. Now, Jay, you were telling me, man, you said something about them rookies or something. Those young guys coming in, and can you kind of go
when
back?
you're a rookie, man, yeah, it's you always gotta just see, you want to check them out, man. I mean, look, when I was a late draft choice or draft pick, so every year, I had to earn it, even when I was doing well, in the league, and I led the league a couple years in tackles, and so I'm in the history books, but still, I always felt like I was a late round draft choice. So you always want to see who's coming through, and
Right.
I knew more about Andre than anybody else because my connection with the Hurricanes and my dad. So,
Yes.
but when homeboy walked, and plus he just ran through Nebraska in the Rose Bowl. So, when I was watching it, I was like, man, that dude, okay, he all right. He ain't that big, man. He walked through there. I was like, dang. So, yeah, but he's a good dude, man. And I will tell you, he's one of the best teammates I ever had. Trustworthy. He's tough, accountable, hard worker, respectful, whatever. There's nothing I could say bad about him as a teammate. Always was there, to play to win. And that's what you want.
Well, I'll say this, man. You had a successful career in my eyes, and I like to give people flowers while they're alive. So that's,
yeah.
And that's another reason why I wanted you on the show. So after when you left the Texans, you were done? Is that?
No, I went I went 4 in Buffalo, 3 in the Texans, and then I got hurt. I went in Texans. I really, messed up my ankle and knee and stuff. And that kind of was like, my wheels were my quickness is how I got paid, my quickness and smarts. Now I was, I could do everything else, but that's, I could shake and bake a little bit. So then, I had a run flat there, Ricky. After, the wheel wasn't turning like it used to. So then I went from there, and then I got picked up late by the Giants, and then we went to the playoffs, and then I didn't get picked up to the middle of the season, the next season by San Fran, and then that was it. And so, I started pretty much 7 years, and then the next 2 years just, wasn't playing or just, special teams back, which I was fine with because I was able to, somewhat mentor and see some young guys, come up through the, the ranks. Like when I came up, I had a good mentor in Sam Cowart, who was actually a year older, and then obviously John Holisek, who was there. They kind of took me underneath their wings, so I was trying to do the same. And then it was time to hang them up after that.
Well, I'll say this. After you hung them up, you didn't just shut it down. You kept doing other things, education-wise.
Right. Yeah.
Also. And I just want people to know this side of you.
Sure.
So now correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't have all my facts here, but you went on and after you got your degree from Nebraska and played pro ball, you also got more education?
Yeah, I went to the NFL has a program with like Wharton and Harvard. So I chose Harvard as the closest where I was living at that time in Charlotte. And, that was a great experience for me. And it was a weird time because it was during the recession in 2008.
Okay.
And then I was in 9 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
So, you have to apply for it to get in there as one of the NFL programs. So it took, you never know if you're going to get in,
Right.
And so you get in and you go up there and they throw you right in the mix, man. I mean, in there, you in the pressure cooker of first of all, Boston's different. I don't know if you've been to Boston.
No.
Yeah, a little different, man.
See, here's what I'm thinking. Harvard is Ivy League.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I don't know. Nobody that ain't got it together can even get admitted, let alone succeed.
Well, the NFL fast tracks you in there to get in there, but
you still got to be able to.
You got to be able to, you got to get in there. Like there were some smart guys like Pete Kendall, who was at Boston College. He's super smart. Like, he's like, he one of them smart offensive linemen, and all that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of guys in there, and they mix you with regular students in the entrepreneur program. And man, you meet some very unique people, man. And what I did with Ricky is I just used everything that I learned here.
Yes.
Just football. Try hard, ask questions, shut up and show up. Really. I learned a lot by listening and using my eyes. And the one thing is I one of the biggest things I learned from there is your team that you have around you definitely will help you go where you need to go. As long as and also it's okay to fail. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
when you go off and try to do different business ventures. One of the best things is that your boy Jerry Jones came up. Hey, man. So Jerry Jones came up there and Jerry Richardson from the Panthers. Jerry Jones came up there and it was a big, so it had all the NFL guys in all our classes. So whatever you chose. So it was a big, deal, luncheon.
Right.
So Jerry comes to the table. This is funny, man. So he's talking about marketing and stuff. So I'm thinking like, all right, what can I ask this dude? So I asked him about sales or whatever, and in the art of a deal, he's like, so I asked him about, plan B. He told me about his plan A. He's like, he tells him about vision, all this and all that, all the catchphrases.
Right.
And I was like, what about your plan B? He's like, I don't need no plan B because I'm trying to get there. He's like, I'm getting a yes or no for whether I'm getting the money or not.
Wow.
And that was but it came off like a little cocky, but it's realistic.
Yes.
He believed in the Cowboys. You got to think NFL Network was started by Jerry Jones.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
I did not know that.
And then the Cowboys obviously is probably one of the most profitable franchises out there. So his vision and his belief in his product, now, no matter how bad the product is on the field, the experience to go into Jerry's world is what he sells to people,
right?
Which then therefore sells the team. Now, he was the owner when they were really, really great and some other good teams. And so it was interesting meeting him, man. And number one, he played a little bit, in Arkansas. And then also with Jerry Richardson, who knew, what it's like to be as a football player. That's why I think that the one thing I'd say about the Cowboys that I learned, and that also I learned through this Harvard program, and this is good companies, is that no matter when you came through there, once you're a Cowboy, you're always a Cowboy. And right. And Jerry Jones takes care of his players.
Yeah.
And so that's what those are the things you got exposed to. And then obviously the hard work, and really when you're in that type of program, it's a lot of presenting, and you get Ricky, you up there and literally the spotlight's on you, and they be like, that ain't gonna work. So, but it's the football thing. Hey, you didn't play good. You're doing this good. Come back and do it again. Hit the weights. It's the same thing. It's just in a different area.
Yeah, I'm a diehard Cowboy fan. I grew up 30 minutes from Dallas, but it's hard for me to admit to that today because we're not doing well. And and I think about that. But when you put it in perspective like you just did, it's a business. The business side of it, they're still one of the most highly rated teams when it comes to branding. And
every year, yeah.
And they got some of the most loyal fans. It's kind of a lot like Nebraska. They got very loyal fans.
Right.
Man. That fan base, Cowboy fans, man. I grew up around them guys, man. Some of them guys you can get a fight real easy on days when Cowboys don't play.
Yeah, they take it serious. Yeah. And but he, the way he talked about branding was I probably didn't understand it then, but as I kind of started to do other things, I think it really helped out. And obviously that's part of the Harvard program. And I think the hardest thing for me was after football. It was hard.
Yeah.
It was the hardest thing I ever had to go through. And they're both one. And I remember I had this job out at Gallup and I met Mike Singletary, and he's like, man, you're going to go through a little bit of financial bump, career bump, and personal family bump, all before, you're 35 years old. He's like, most likely. But he's like, how you deal with it and overcome it. You have to go back to what you knew football wise. And, that's probably what probably helped me make somewhat of a transition out of there. And then, really sticking to the football roots and what I learned at that Harvard program, of course, and what I learned in school as well.
Now, this Harvard program you're speaking of, exactly what did that do for you?
Well, it gave me confidence because, the one thing is one of my best friends, he's a big way at Boston Scientific. He broke it down to me. He's like, Jay, you've been playing the NFL for like 9-10 years. He's like, I've been working. Now you in the real playing field, right? Yes, he's like, you're 32 years old. Like I've been, he's been grinding. He's like, so you got to play catch up. So I think the Harvard program puts you in different situations to lessen that gap of the catch up and give, oddly enough, being a pro athlete, we are real people. We aren't robots. We do have feelings and all that, to have the confidence to go out there and prospect jobs, to try something, to, create a business, create a brand. That's what it did more than anything. Yeah, there's still connections. There's still people I still, get emails from and stuff like that and check up on. But that's the biggest thing they did. It gives you the confidence to go out there and try to be successful.
Well, you've really turned it into a business. And what I mean by that is I see some of the things that you're doing now. You even got something going on down at the stadium if I know.
Yeah, and it's not, I just try to help. And it's partly from my experience with the Texans.
Okay.
And then also my experience with my dad and the Hurricanes. Because, them Canes, they roll tough.
Yeah.
I was just down there for when my dad won the Ring of Fame, man, and they still just jamming me up while I ain't come there. I said, listen, man, I got 3 rings. You got to back up off me. And we beat them the first one. So anyways, from that and, through the different regimes, there's kind of, with former players always was kind of, there wasn't like any steady footing. And, and so what I was able to do, I was part of the former players, group with the Texans and see how they structured it, and it's great, and there's players coming from everywhere. When you're expansion team, you might have the most transactions in NFL history in those first 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So you got to build the database. And then, when Trev was here, I can't, not talk about what, Doak. And so Doak was already down there. Right. And I've been talking to Doak about it. And I'd previously tried to talk to Shine Eichhorst about it as well. This is way back then. Especially trying to bridge the gap, maybe, to be honest with you, with African-American players, feeling more welcome, or people to see or that they can contact, even for the present day players. It wasn't there for ever. I can't speak for, but just it hadn't been a big priority. It's a priority at other schools and all that.
Right,
and I have a lot of players that I played with that are in that position, like Jonas Jennings at Georgia. I talk to him all the time, and Terry Fair was there, and they, with Tennessee and all these guys that I went to battle with. And so right now I'm just helping, with with former players being able to, simple things like reunions, going to practice and all that type of stuff. So it's not like a full-time job, but it's something that I will say with Trev, when Trev was here, Troy, Haven, Coach Rule, they definitely are made it a priority.
Well, I one thing I will say is this, the former players, as a former player myself, I don't feel like they owe me anything, but I am still a fan.
Right.
And I want to see them do well.
Yeah.
But I got this mindset that I go where I'm celebrated, not tolerated.
Right.
And I thank you for trying to bridge that gap.
Yeah, it's a work in progress, and we're going to get there.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to get there.
Hey, look, we're going to take one more break. We're going to come back with Jay Farm. We're going to wrap this up on 93.7. The ticket is to get to Happy on Hour. We'll be right back.
You're counting on your team to win, so why not prove it? By placing your bets at Warhorse Sportsbook, their win is your win. Put your money where your mouth is on nearly every sporting event. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person at Warhorse Casino, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Hi, it's Joel Norman, the voice of your Lincoln Stars hockey team. Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket to hear the latest on the Stars with myself, head coach Rocky Russo, and special player guests.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Wellman Plumbing at 402-434-2400 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-434-2400.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard, increase security, and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Load up on meat and more this fall at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. This week's special through November 12th is $2 off all crackers, $2 off on grind, $3 off on salami, and buy one, get one free on stew beef. Limit of 2. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Highway 2 in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
You're counting on your team to win, so why not prove it? By placing your bets at Warhorse Sportsbook. Their win is your win. Put your money where your mouth is on nearly every sporting event. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person at Warhorse Casino, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Hi, it's Joel.
Back to the Get Your Happy On Hour, featuring former Husker receiver Ricky Simmons.
Hey, and we back. Hey, Buck, we got anybody to comment over there, man?
Yeah, we got a few comments off of Facebook. There's Odious Lee says, looking good, gentlemen. And Kim Kelly off of YouTube says, glad you finally got the Hall of Famer on the show, Rick. Fun hearing the stories. Hi, Jay.
Man, I appreciate you, Kim Kelly. I appreciate you, Odious Lee, man, for checking out the show. Kim Kelly is my business partner, and she always keeps me focused on what I need to be focused on, and I want to thank her personally for that. You know, I got to ask Jay, man, first of all, before I forget, before I run out of time, thank you for being on the show.
Oh, no sweat. Hey, man, we're all teammates, even though you played before me.
Yeah.
I always say this, man, Huskers, is that if I can be there for a teammate, I'm going to be there.
Well, I appreciate you. Now, you said you had a shout out for somebody.
Oh yeah, man. I got a young nephew. His name is. The funny thing is, he sends me all these TikToks. His name is Elijah Lewis, but it's Elijah the Great.
Oh,
right. And I said, listen, man, you better stop calling yourself great till you start doing something. And so he's a football player, so he always was quarterback. And I was telling him, I said, look, dude, you need to play that wide receiver and safety. And. It was the first year on varsity as a sophomore up in Minnesota. And he got the most improved player. So I want to give him a shout out, man. I'm happy for him, proud of him. And just talked to him a couple weeks ago. And I said, look, man, this is the first step. Don't compare yourself to where you are in your little bubble. Compare yourself against the fictionary or, player out there that you always think somebody's training it harder than you, that better than you.
Right.
But yeah, I want to give him a shout out, man.
So is it possible we can get him up here?
I think he said he's gonna come down to camp. I told him, I said, look, man, they be working you at camp here. This ain't no like get a t-shirt, some Gatorade, run a couple things. You be here all day, so you better come down, and it's gonna be hot. So you better be ready, man.
You better be in shape.
Yeah, you better be in shape coming down here.
Well, hey, Jay, again, man, like I said, I can't thank you enough. You're doing a lot of good things for a lot of people that you don't have to do. And I admire that too, because I call that being humble, and to me, you've always been a humble man, and I've watched you from afar. And I got to say, thank you for, you invited me to one of your golf tournaments.
Oh yeah.
I know I lost quite a few red Callaways out there, but you know what? I showed up.
Yeah. Showed up and showed out. Yeah, that's all we do.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I know I'm not gonna get a green jacket, but I was honored to be there. So
yeah,
I want to
appreciate
thank you
coming. Hey, man, it's always reciprocated, man. And I appreciate. Listen, man, my dad and my grandfather and my whole posse of older. They, that's the way we were raised, man. Yeah. It's just doing your due, man. I saw my grandfather, man. He was my idol, man.
Well, it's kind of a lost art because respecting your elders.
Yeah.
I was raised that way as well in the South, and I don't see it as much as I would like, but I understand it's a different time. And I will say this, man. I'm a diehard Nebraska fan. even though I don't talk a lot of sports, I do watch and I do want them to do well. I just, I don't have the insight, on what's going on down there, but I just hope that out of these last 2 games, I'd like to win one so we can get to a bowl. I think that would help, but I will be definitely rooting for them. And Jay, I guess the most important thing I got to ask you is, with all the accomplishments you've had and all the things that you're doing to help others, man, is that just from your upbringing?
Yeah, I mean, my grandfather, man, he was the dude, man. So I always held him at a high standard, and my dad and all as well.
Mm-hmm.
And just saw that, look, to be honest with you, the biggest impact my grandfather ever made, and my dad as well, because we grew up together. But man, I saw that. I remember when he had a stroke, and he's a diabetic, and he had one of his legs amputated, and they were like, back then they were like, "Hey, man, you got about 6 months."
Oh yeah, right.
And he pushed and fought and stayed alive for 6 years.
Wow.
And he had some other stuff. And and I remember when I flew back to see him, and I was coming to college, and he didn't have a lot. He couldn't really talk, and he listened and said, "Man, don't take no stuff." And he's like, "You're a foreman." The moral of the story is I saw that man work, right?
Yeah.
And do everything he could for his family until he couldn't anymore.
God.
And never wanted any credit. All he wanted to do is sit down and chill, man.
Yeah.
And we used to watch football all day. And so I just kind of, that's what me and my dad did and uncles did. So that's what I just kind of figured it worked for him. It's going to work for me.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, Jay, I'm going to ask my final question. And that is, when you do get some downtime, man, how does Jay Foreman get his happy hour?
Man, I'm not a big social media guy. But man, I fell in love with these TikTok dudes that cook, man.
Oh,
yeah.
okay,
Oh yeah. So now listen, I will tell you, it don't come out like the way it's been looking, but it's that I've been doing okay. So that's what I've been doing, man.
You've been getting your cook on.
Hey, I tell people I'm going somewhere, I'm gonna be done, I'm going to bed or something, I'll be on there watching all the time, man.
Well, again, thank you, man, for being on the show. Hey, I wrap my show up the same way every week, man. Every day you blessed to say it's just another day in paradise. And no matter what, you got to get your happy on. See y'all next Sunday.